Hey friends, my name is Jackson. I'm not your average NB, and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm doing day 3 of the countdown video of my 10-year anniversary. So this is video 3, and this is going to be the top 10 movies I'm looking forward to in 2024. And I'm going to try and describe the plot synopsis as best I can for these movies, but I'm not that good at describing movies and stuff, so it might be a little bit weird. Also, because the year is almost over, I actually made this list a couple weeks ago when I was first preparing, and a couple of these movies I've since seen, so I might get to something like that. But because the year was almost over and there weren't that many movies coming out, and because there are more movies coming, and because there are movies coming out on streaming as much as in theaters, I figured that I was only gonna do, the movies that were coming out in theaters. That was my original idea. But I couldn't do that because there's not 10 movies coming out in theaters in 2024. At least there wasn't when I wrote this list. At least not that I was looking forward to. So I had to kind of extend the list slightly to include a couple of movies from streaming services, which was never my intention in the first place. But, it's my 10-year anniversary special, so I had to work with what I've got. So, top 10 movies. Yeah, okay. Alright, I'm gonna do the list. Um, Number 10, Heretic. So, this is basically about these two ladies that are like Jehovah's Witnesses, I guess, or not Jehovah's Witnesses, they're Catholic, I believe, and they're going around door to door. Anyway, they're one of those religions that goes around door to door talking to people about the Bible. And I have seen this movie I have seen this movie since I made this list because, like I said, I made it a couple weeks ago, and so obviously not everything. And when I see that a movie is out, I kind of rush out to see it these days because things leave theaters pretty quickly. Are sometimes occasional movies, so I'm trying not to keep yawning. There is the occasional movie that'll come out and won't leave theaters for quite a while. Like, for example, when Inside Out 2 came out, it was out for like 3 months. But these days, these days, movies in movie theaters, at least in my area, tend to leave theaters pretty quick. So if I don't rush out to see it, there's a chance I might miss it. I've already missed several movies that I really wanted to see that way. Because I'll go see another movie again because I want to give it a little time until the seats clear out, and I think it'll still be around next week. And then I make a mistake and I miss it. So I end up missing movies that I want to see, and that's happened a few times now, which is always really obnoxious. And I always want to make sure that I have enough time to see the movie, but also that I've given it enough time that there was less people in the theater, but I kind of discovered a better solution to that, which is I go see it at a time, which is to go see it at an earlier time when everyone is still going to be at school/work. So there are hardly any people in the theater. I think there was a few people in the theater when I went to see the movie last week, but when I went to see my last movie on Monday, it was literally the only one in the theater. So anyway, back to the actual plot of the movie, which is what I'm supposed to be doing. So Heretic is essentially about these two women who are Catholic and they're going around informing people about the Catholic Church. And essentially they run into this guy's apartment or this guy's house, and he ends up trapping them, and and he marks one, and there are two doors in the back of the house, and he marks one belief and one disbelief, and he tells them to choose which door to go through based on their belief system. So they do that, and none of this is spoiler territory, by the way, because it's all in the trailer. Like, nothing I've pointed out so far has not been in the trailer. There's also the fact that he pretends his wife is cooking a blueberry pie, or why did I say cooking? Baking a blueberry pie, but in reality, there is no wife there, and the candle is blueberry pie scented that he has going on in the house. Like, there's a candle and it's blueberry pie scented to pretend that he's baking a pie, which, why didn't he just bake a pie? Maybe he sucks at baking, I don't know. Um, but anyway, um, but, um, essentially, that's how it starts. And since I saw it, I do know all the twists and turns and how it ends, but I'm not really going to spoil that part for you guys. That's going to be in my review that I'm going to do later, or maybe I'll talk about it in my top 12 movies of 2024 when that comes out, because I have to watch every movie that I want to watch in 2024 for that to come out, which means that we have to make it to the end of the year. Okay. Mm. Number 9, Anora. Now, this is one of those movies I've since seen. This is the other movie that I've since seen since I made this list because it came out, and I actually jumped at the chance to see it, and I actually jumped at the chance to see it with my mom, and I convinced her to go with me, and we went last Friday and we watched it together. So we literally went to a movie last week. I mean, I wasn't planning anything individual for me. I mean, I was, but I was gonna go see Anora, but me and my mom were gonna hang out on Friday. And I was like, I thought like, hey, why don't we just go see the freaking movie together? Because it would be really fun. And my mom said she really wanted to see it. And I was like, okay, screw it, let's just go together. And my mom agreed, so we went and saw it. And it's about this guy, whose parents are really rich, and he falls in love with a prostitute, and that's basically the whole story. And I'm not gonna give anything away because again, that's gonna be in my review later in the year. Or not later in the year, that's gonna be next year. Like, I'm probably gonna try and do the list in January or February. And it's also gonna depend on how my writing is going because, like I said, I might be editing a book. And in January, they also start the employment program that I was telling you guys about. So I'm gonna be working my way towards getting a job, and that also means I'm gonna be out of the house on Tuesday and Thursday nights. And I'm also going to be out of the house on Mondays because of sports, and I might not have a lot of time to record in those cases. I will try and get things done, but I can't guarantee like what I'm going to be doing or how much I'm going to be able to get done. I'm going to try and organize some kind of schedule. But the other thing is, I don't live alone right now, and it's very difficult I can't just record whenever I want. It has to be while my mom is away at work. So I'm trying to put a lot of content for you guys out in the next couple months so that hopefully that makes up for me possibly being absent or having less videos in 2025, or at least at the start of 2025. And as you guys know, after the employment program, I'm not just going to be home all the time. Again, I'm going to be getting a part-time job, and that could affect things a lot. So I'll keep you guys updated, and we'll like go over things. But my mom and I both really loved Anora. It was like a cute romantic thing, and it was fun, and there were a lot of fun characters, and I would recommend seeing it. It was also at the Toronto International Film Festival. I mean, I mentioned The Substance on my top 10 movies that I've seen so far in 2024, and it'd probably be number 1 or number 2 on that list. I think I'd put Anora somewhere around maybe number 3 or number 4. So, if that gives you guys some kind of idea of where they would be on an actual list if I wasn't doing this in no particular order, which this is in no particular order, just so you guys know. But Yeah, we both really loved Anora, and I'm glad I made the choice to see it with my mom or to try and convince my mom to see it with me. All I had to say is, hey, let's see Anora on Friday, and my mom jumped on it and was like, okay. And so I was like, oh, well, okay. We're still planning to go see Wicked because, of course, we are, but yeah, really glad we saw it together. Number 8, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So this is one that probably needs no introduction. If you guys know about the Sonic the Hedgehog series, you guys know it's been going on for ages. There were shows back in the day. There were shows back in like the 80s and 90s, and there were tons of Sonic games. And Sonic is like this gigantic franchise that's been around forever. Like, it's definitely been around for the majority of my childhood, or for all of my childhood, rather. Like, I watched Sonic X. That was the one I grew up with originally. Then later on, I discovered Sonic Saddam, and Satam, and I watched that. I have no idea how. Sorry, I don't know how to say it. Satam, Satam, whatever. It was really good. Sonic Saddam is probably my favorite series, and there was one series that I watched and didn't finish, and that would be, I don't remember the freaking name. The one where they were in a band or something, and Sonic has two siblings, apparently. I don't even know what the fuck's going on there. That series was dumb. I didn't finish watching it, but I grew up. But Sonic X being the one I grew up with is the one I have the most nostalgic connection to. But Sonic Satam is definitely my favorite Sonic series, like, of all time. Like, yeah, it's better than the movies, too. Even though I do love the movies, I don't know if I would have loved them if they'd stuck with the original design of Sonic, though. They definitely made a good choice listening to everyone who saw the first trailer, and I'm glad that people who watched the trailer said something because that original design was really creepy and weird, and yeah, I probably wouldn't have gone to see the movie because that design is really off-putting. But luckily, they listened and they changed the design, and it looks a lot better now, and I was really happy to see that. And so I saw the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and then a couple years later, I saw the second Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and now Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is introducing Shadow. So it seems like every time they make a new movie, they introduce a new character. Like, for Sonic. For the first Sonic movie, it was just Sonic on his own. Then in the second movie, they introduced Tails, who was also in like um a scene after the credit scene or mid-credit scene or whatever it is, and Tails was there, and I got really excited to see the second movie because I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Tails! I love him!" And so then I went to see the second movie, even though they would have had me hooked even without Tails because I love Sonic. But yeah, it's really nice to see that they're introducing more characters, and obviously also in the second movie was Knuckles, so that was really fun. He apparently has his own series now. I gotta go check it out. And there's also another Sonic series called Sonic Prime. I'm gonna have to check that one out too. I have a lot of series on my list that I still have to get to. Um, and then they have Sonic the Hedgehog 3 coming out in December. It was actually, I thought it was going to be in January or February of 2025, but no, it was actually December of this year, which was really cool to hear. I guess they're putting it out just in time for Christmas or whatever. But like the two past movies have been like around January or February. Actually, I think they were both in February because I remember going to see both of them on Valentine's Day because I don't really have a partner, so I just kind of go do my own thing for Valentine's Day. Like, usually I go and see a movie for myself. It's really fun. But I'm really curious to see what they're gonna do for Shadow in this movie. Number 7, Apartment 7A. So, yeah, I had to extend this to streaming services, as I said before. Like, I just couldn't make the list work if I didn't extend it to streaming services. I mean, I could have included movies that I wasn't that fond of seeing or that I didn't really care about, but that's not supposed to be the point. So instead, I added streaming services just so I would have something to stretch to because the list is more important. The list is more importantly about movies that I'm interested in rather than movies that are only in theaters. That was the original intention, but because the year is almost over, it's not really working out that way, and I couldn't find enough movies that I was excited to see. So, Apartment 7A is like a prequel to Rosemary's Baby, I think. And I saw Rosemary's Baby way back when. Like, I haven't seen it recently, but I would definitely have to see it again before I watch Apartment 7A. But I found out that there was a movie that was, they keep showing me the ad when I go to, when I go to Amazon Prime. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll see it. So yeah, I'm gonna go check it out. Number 6, Wicked. So, obviously, I mentioned this one previously that I was really excited to see this one, and that me and my mom were going to see this one together, blah, 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 because Anoa wasn't exactly, Anoa was extra. It wasn't like my choice. Me and my mom each picked a movie, and we saw both our movie, and we saw both our respective movies. Well, we kind of did, but unfortunately, We Live in Time was gone from theaters when my mom wanted to see it, and I was like, okay, well, what if we went to see Here? Because that was another one we were both really excited about. Here is lower down the list, by the way. But we were both just like, okay, well, let's go see a different movie. So we went and saw Here, because why not? It was in theaters, and we had a really great time watching it, and I was really excited, you know, and technically that was my mom's choice, and then Smile 2 was my choice, which we saw before, so the next one was gonna be my choice, and Anoa was just extra because normally because it was on Friday, it came out of our time together, which usually I wasn't expecting. Like, usually that wouldn't be the thing, it's supposed to be extra, but because I just decided that I wanted to see a movie and I couldn't think of any other day that we could make it work, so I was just like, "Let's go see a movie on Friday," so that's what we did. But, anyway, for Wicked, I'm really, really excited to see it. Apparently, it was like a musical first, which I knew about, and I always waited for it to come to Toronto, but it never did, at least not that I know of. I I may have missed it somewhere, or it may have just not come to Toronto. I'm not sure which one is accurate, but the movie looks really friggin' cool. So apparently they're enemies because their roommates, and Glinda doesn't like that she's roommates with this green girl who seems kind of weird. And then they become friends, and then I don't know how they become enemies again because they were acting like they're enemies in the Wizard of Oz movie, but I guess this prequel is going to cover that, or at least I hope it does. Hopefully, it doesn't turn out like one of those Disney prequels where you can't see it as canon if you want to actually enjoy it, which Disney prequels don't even get me started on the live action Disney prequels. But anyway, yeah, Wicked looks really good, and I'm super pumped for it. And my mom wasn't super excited to see it, but I mean, I know she's excited to see it, but like, it's not her first choice or anything, but it's my choice because it's my turn to pick, so and that's what we decided on. So yeah, we're gonna go see Wicked together, and it's gonna be really fun. Number 5, Moana 2. So essentially, the obviously, this is another series that doesn't need an introduction because if you guys know about Disney and you know about the original movie, it's not that deep. It's just Moana wanting to go out to sea, so she does, and then she meets Maui and they have to return to Fidi's heart or whatever. So they end up doing that, and that's like the whole movie. I mean, there was more to it than that, but I think I described it pretty accurately. Oh yeah, I forgot Tamatoa. He's this crab that sings, and he's awesome. He's hilarious, and his song is hilarious, and I love everything about him. So I do love the first movie, and in the second movie, Moana has a little sister, which is adorable, and actually kind of reminds me of my 4-year-old Kendall because they look similar. I mean, the Moana's sister has darker skin and darker hair, obviously, but still freaking adorable. She's 3 and she's like the cutest thing ever. And I know that once Moana sets off on her journey that the little sister isn't going to be there anymore because you can't exactly take a 3-year-old on a deadly journey across the sea. That would be pretty irresponsible, but it's still going to be awesome, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing all the characters again, and I'll always give Disney sequels a chance, especially since, like I said, I have a 4-year-old, so I'm going to be in theaters one way or another, which I'm going to be in theaters for Toy Story 5 too, which I'm really not looking forward to, but like I said, I have a 4-year-old, so I'm going to go see it. Anyway, number 4, A Real Pain. So I don't even know how to begin to describe this one. It's just some comedy movie. It looks fun, but I literally could not find any description for it. Like, usually when you go to Cineplex, there's a space for movie details, and there was not under this movie. So what is it about? I don't even know. And that's all the information I have on it because they didn't give me any. Number three, Red One. So this movie looks really awesome. It's basically like this guy and a CGI polar bear, and they're like saving Santa or something. Honestly, I don't have a lot of information on this one either, and like I said, I'm kind of bad at describing movies, so I'm just gonna move on to the next one. Number two, Nosferatu. This one I believe is coming out this year. I think I'm 100% on that. Wait, I'm gonna at least look and make sure that that this is actually accurate, that this is actually coming out, uh, 2024. Nosferatu. Oh, it is a 2024 movie. Yay! It's coming out in well, it doesn't say the exact date, but oh, it's coming out December 25th. Look at that. It's coming out on Christmas. It barely ends up at the cutoff. So it's coming out Christmas Day. And apparently, this is a vampire legend made into a movie or something. I don't know. It looks epic as fuck, though. I want to see it. I don't know. I love vampire stuff, and I really want to see this movie. I mean, my favorite vampire series is probably Twilight, and no, that's not some kind of joke. I'm not being facetious. I actually love Twilight. Unironically, I know like a lot of people have some opinions about it that are the very opposite of mine, but I love vampire stuff and I can't wait to see Nosferatu, and I'm like really looking forward to it because I love that stuff. And I love like when urban legends get turned into movies, and it's actually not the only urban legend getting turned into a movie because apparently there's also a Wolfman movie coming out, so that could be kind of cool. And there's other stuff coming. It looks cool. Anyway, I'm here for Nosferatu. I'm really excited for it. I hope I'm saying it right because I probably just butchered that word. Anyway, number one here. So basically, this is a movie about all of the events that take place in one house. Well, not even in the house, technically, in the area, in one specific spot, where a house is eventually built, and it goes through like a bunch of different timelines and stuff. And it's really interesting how it's framed and how it's all in this one specific spot. And eventually, a house gets built, but also there's like, the meteor showing the dinosaurs like when the meteors come down and then they die and stuff. And then apparently there was dinosaur bones found there later, and some I guess you would call them Native American guy turns it into a necklace for his girlfriend, which is really sweet. And later on, when the house is built a long time later, then it's like an archaeological burial site. So some people come around to be like, hey, this is an archaeological burial site. Can we please dig here for dinosaur bones and stuff? And then they do that. And it's a really interesting story, and there's also a bunch of cute stuff. The one part of the movie that I liked most, I've since seen this movie, by the way, but the one part of the movie that I liked the most, spoiler alert for people who haven't seen it yet, is this story about this one man and woman who are really in love, and at the same time, he's trying to invent this chair that does all sorts of stuff like a reclining chair, which eventually he names the Relax Boy, and then later on it becomes Lazy Boy because I guess they took over and changed it without his permission, but he doesn't care. He's still happy to have this thing invented and to have his name on it, and he thinks it's really cool, and now everybody can use it, and that's what eventually becomes Lazy Boy, but it's not the actual story. My mom did Google it later because she was curious, but I mean, they just wanted to make some kind of fake romantic story. So why wouldn't they would rather do that than stick to the actual story, which I think is awesome because sometimes you just need a fictional story because sometimes the real story just isn't that interesting. And I'm not a huge fan of documentaries, but I am a fan of really cute love stories or interesting invention stories about how something was invented. And, like The love story that's mixed in was adorable and I loved it. And yes, I'm aromantic, but I still really enjoy the love stories and romance and stuff. I'm still a sucker for romance. I just don't want any of my own. I can still like that stuff without wanting a relationship. But anyway, that's it for the video. So I'm gonna post this on the 23rd, and I'm gonna say goodbye for now. And I love each and every one of you guys. Please don't forget to always be yourself. You are valid. Don't forget to be good to yourself and to others, and I will see all you guys in the next video, which is gonna be tomorrow. Okay, bye.